यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family members and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 39 of 11th chapter. Arjuna Uvacha Vayuryamogniर्वरुणस्य शाङ्कः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहश्च नमो नमस्तेस्तु सहस्रकृत्वः पुनश्च भूयोऽपि नमो नमस्ते. As we saw, this is a third expression from Arjuna. So when he saw the Vishwarupa Darshana, so immediately his normal psychological system became amazed. Okay. So Arjuna, though he was a great warrior, he was very conscious person what he does. That too, when he goes into the battlefield, he becomes very conscious enough and he is very thorough about it. He never loses his temper, but in the first chapter we saw him, he was just collapsed. His whole psychological system was collapsed. Because of what? Because of not the force from outside. Any force that he cannot disturb Arjuna. So only one force. That force is in the form of confusion, in the form of emotional imbalance. That's what it happened in the first chapter. That time he was totally confused. He was not aware enough what to be done. And he was not able to use his free will. You see, there are 4 weekends, so we select the weekends program. While selecting the weekends program, so we utilize our free will. We utilize very consciously because that's a free day for me. That's the day of my life. Especially, these government people. Government people means, don't mistake, the people who is serving to the government. For them that whole week becomes boring. The one day, that Sunday is their day. That's what their feeling is. Therefore, they consciously, enthusiastically they program. Program means selecting something, where to go, what to do and how to do, and the people who are going to be with us. So everything they have to utilize their free will. They select all those things. When they utilize the free will, they have a kind of unknown expectations. They are not confused. They utilize their free will. But when it comes the matter of the life phenomenon, so anything that to select, which college to be selected for my son, which school is to be selected for my baby, and what kind of person to be selected for my daughter or son, people become confused because it becomes a little bit very serious job. And what is the difference between these 2 kinds of programming? Programming for weekends or programming for holiday, vacations. The programming or planning for the life. Totally mentality is different between these 2 selections. So that's how the confusion began. It was the life confused state, the time for Arjuna in this first chapter, but not now. In the 11th chapter, he was very clear about himself and the world. Now he is confused. His mind become confused by seeing the avatara, means the Vishwarupa of Lord. When it happens to see a vast areas, if you are taken in front of Everest, your mind will struck. If you are taken into the midst of ocean, your mind will struck. If you are taken to Atlanta, everything, everywhere there is only glaciers, your mind was struck. So like when you realize the Shastra, the in-depth meaning of Shastra, your mind, so many times it struck. Sometimes it amazes, and sometimes it gets more confused. Sometimes it also terrifies. So when Shastra talks about the time principle, when it talks about death and birth phenomena, it talks about disasters. And when it is discussed about the bad, evil powers of the world, they seems to be more powerful than a good power. No, what I would like to say, if you want to plant a sapling, it takes many years, at least 10-15 years to become a tree for that sapling. But one disaster, one storm can demolish that 15 years time. That 15 years, but the Kala principle, it smashes immediately. Then your mind will become struck. We don't know how to face these phenomena. Like when Arjuna could see everything, his mind went off and he was not able to balance, so his body was trembling and mind was not knowing how to fix it up. This is what the problem of a human being. We don't know how to fix it up. So how to fix it up means we use a little bit logic to fix it up. So logic means what? If a baby is born, the baby should get strength at least for 1 year. So after 1 year, it develops, getting the immunity system. But that 1 year, the baby is very vulnerable. We have to safeguard it. But after 20 years, 25 years, if a person still continues to be vulnerable creature or a human being, so logic won't work. The logic will say that this is wrong. That is the logic. Mind uses logic for everything. And always emotions are because of illogical things. You expect with logic, but there is illogical. For example, you expect the person won't do this mistake, won't commit this mistake. Exactly, that person alone will commit more mistake, then you will become mad. That self-calculation, the self-calculation about the experience of our own life, the self-calculation about the world cannot be brought into my conclusion, my judgmental attitude and my perception. I have to learn how to have the perception, means proper perception about the world. That's what Bhagavan have shown now. So when you understand the meaning of Shastra, your inner system will be established, it will be re-established, proper establishment will take place. At that time, that thanksgivingness, we call it credibility, the thanksgivingness will come automatically. The namaskara will come from the bottom of heart. It won't come from the mind, it will come from the bottom of heart. That's what is taking place now. This is known as a complete transformation of a human being. The complete transformation. You become a humiliated person. So that namrata means you become a thankful jiva. A thankful jiva. I don't know, this expression is not there in English, but a person who is experiencing the thankfulness from all the directions, all over. So nothing is because of me. Everything which are provided in my life because of my karma phala, that too because of Ishvara's grace. Now who is Ishvara? Ishvara is everywhere. Everywhere means what? Time wise he is everywhere. When I was born, so that birth took place because of his blessings. The time was selected and space was selected, and all the objects were, including my parents, were selected. So all the incidents which were in the form of experiences and which was in the form of people around me, everything was selected. Now still he is blessing me by providing the experience, by arranging the sceneries in front of me in my life. So when you understand, automatically your eyes will set the tears, your attitude will change. That attitude is shown here. He says or he talks like a mad. I do namaskara 1,000 times, 1,000 namaskara. So I have to do namaskara in front of you, in the behind you, and right side, left side, top and bottom. He talks like, little bit. His mind goes out of the language barrier. I can call it a language barrier. So when you are highly emotion means with consciousness. This is, it's a bhakti. This bhakti, it seems to be emotions. It's a mature emotion. Matured emotions with consciousness. You are not losing yourself. Many people, they say bhakti means to get lost. That's not the bhakti is. Bhakti, you go and study all the acharyas. All Ramanuja, Adi Shankara, Madhva, and these three, not only three, Buddha, even Mahavir, and all these rishis and these avatar incarnations even. Bhakti means with complete consciousness. That consciousness is not at all disconnected with you, because you are nothing but that consciousness. Therefore, what that consciousness is experienced with proper attitude is known as bhakti. That's what, the words are coming and they are not having the barrier of grammar, barrier of a language, or barrier of society norms. It forgets everything. He does, I have to do namaskara in front of you. I have to go behind you and I have to do namaskara. There is no front, there is no right and left or behind or top or bottom of Ishvara. But I have the limitations. Therefore, what I am breaking that limitation by saying front, behind, right, left, top and bottom, so that I could give a complete namaskara to you, because you are whole, you are all pervasive one. It's a beautiful expressions, but you need to understand, while doing or while getting this kind of experience, you will have a time in your life. Definitely every one of us will experience this thankfulness. I don't know which word to be used for this. This is, completely you are surrendered to Lord. Sometimes when you go in front of Lord Venkateshwara, so you won't be aware enough what kind of attitudes and emotions are gathered. You will set tears, only you will set tears. The glimpse, few minutes that the darshana of Lord Venkateshwara, so you totally, for that alone you travel a lot. The people are traveling from that corner of the world to have a darshan of Lord Venkateshwara. And this Lord Venkateshwara is constructed temple, innumerable temple in even foreign countries, and even in all the places. In Rishikesh also they have constructed a Balaji temple. Recently, I heard there is a nice temple in Guwahati. I sent people to Guwahati and asked, somebody told there is a Balaji temple, very nicely constructed Balaji temple. Though Balaji is blessing from all the places, but there is a Balaji, the special Balaji in Tirumala. When you go in front of him, automatically, something happens. That something cannot be explained through words. Words are very limited when you talk about Ishvara. When you talk about the experience, that experience, so the 1,000 times more than that experience, the experience which is experienced by Arjuna. Therefore he talks, Namah purastadata prusthataste Namostu te sarvata eva sarva Ananta viryamita vikramastvam Sarvam samapnoti tatosi sarvaha. Namaha purasthat. I salute from the front. Prushtataste. I salute from behind. Namaha astute sarvata eva sarva. So right and left and all the direction. I do namaskara from all the direction. It means what? So your mind means your buddhi, intellectual level. That intellect is able to observe, understand the limitlessness of the God. But if you want to give surrendering thanks to Him, but the body prevents, because it is containing the limitations. So you want to break the limitations. That soul, it tries to break the limitations. I should do namaskara from all sides, because you are able to understand that God is everywhere. It's a special gift of understanding that Arjuna received from Lord Himself. Then Ananta Viryam itavikramastam. Ananta Viryam, He is omnipotent. So He is omnipotent is the word which is used in the Shastra. Everywhere it comes. So when God means Brahman is expressed from the Upanishad. Yattad adreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam. This expression from the Upanishad. The same Upanishad will talk about Yas sarvajna sarvavat yasya jnanamayam tapaha. So at that time, the human mind should get connected. The expression comes from which standpoint or with which standpoint. Now Ananta Virya means he is a potential person, that capacity. So that which exists in a seed to be a big huge tree. It's a compressed form, isn't it? A banyan tree or a tree and a pipal tree. It's a huge tree. You see their seed is very small. The huge tree is compressed in that seed. Is it so? See, it has to be so, because the tree comes from there alone. A small, very, very tiny, small one, that cell becomes as a human being. Therefore, he is very potential enough to compress, to expand. This is secret. This is absolutely science. These words, you won't get in any other language other than Indian languages, I tell you. There are words, but the Ananta Viryam means, Viryam is it's a special word. Balam is another word. Balam means strength. Viryam means the strength which the force which can expand the word, the force which can compress the word, the force which can unmanifest the world, which can manifest the world. So Ananta Viryam, the strength, the force which you have, so it doesn't have the limitation. And Amita Vikramaha. So it becomes again, you see, and you are also very talented. Vikramaha means very talented. In Sanskrit there are two words, Samarthya and Parakrama. So usually Virya means Samarthya. Therefore I said it's a force with a strength. Now Vikrama means it's a Parakramaha. It's a slightly different. So this Parakrama means it's a grossified strength. The strength with force, subtle strength, we can say. Samarthya means intellectual strength. Parakramaha means a grossified physical strength. So you are the strength, because when a destruction happens, I saw when I traveled this time to Himalayas. So we were on the way to Kedarnath. We could see the total mountain. The half of the mountain it came down. So it was a great landslide. It's not landslide. We have to use the mountain slide. So total half of the mountain it came down. It filled all the roads and all. So not now. It's 2013, I suppose. So it was drastic, because the talent and power, the samarthya and parakrama of the God alone. Again, all the military people, human being, they have their own courage and they made it all bulldozers and JCB came and they dig for 3 days. It had happened within a second. So 3 days it took to clear it. So that's what also the being in the form of human being. Again the Ishvara alone works. Sarvam samapnoshi tataha sarvaha si. Because you are all pervasive, you are all pervaded entity. Therefore you alone which the power runs the world. Now he is able to connect all the meanings which are given by Shastra. Ananta Viryam Amita Vikramaha Tvam Sarvam Samapnoshit. All these individual sentences. Sarvam Tvam Samapnoshi. So you are all pervasive. You are all pervading everything. You are all pervasive means he is able to feel that God is everywhere. Next words. Sakheti matva prasabham yaduktam he Krishna he Yadava he Sakheti ajanata mahimanam tavedam maya pramadat pranayena vapi. So because every year I go to Tirumala, isn't it? So every time I see different people. So this last time when I was just climbing with many of my people, one person, he seemed to be old enough, he was, but still he was able to come up with us. And he used to sit in a place and he used to stare at me. I didn't ask, I don't talk people unnecessarily. So sometimes he used to cry. And on the way there is Dashawataras, statues are kept. In front of every statue we used to do japa. Japa means Parayana and japa, then we proceed to Lord Venkateshwara. So the Lord Venkateshwara to be experienced from the step 1. That's what this perception Bhagwan gives. So throughout the 7 mountains are nothing but Venkateshwara's glory. They are filled with Venkateshwara's glory. And when you work, many times Purusha Shuktas and programs and whatever it happens to listen there, it's a gift. That's a different experience. I don't want to lose experience. At least once in a year I should have. Therefore, I continuously go to Tirumala. Okay. At that time I watched, he was just crying and just walking through. So at one point of time we were distributing the prasadas. He also came and I provided prasada. And he said, everything is Lord Venkateshwara. Everything is Lord. Then that person and me were talking with each other thereafter up to Tirumala. Then he was telling, he had not read Bhagavad Gita. He was not aware about the meaning of any shloka. Though he was born as an Indian, but he lives in abroad. Okay, so he comes Tirumala twice in a year. He comes once in a Dakshinayana, once in a Uttarayana. This is what description he gave. He was just saying, so everything is nothing but Venkateshwara Swamiji. And I said, of course it's true. But whatever the expressions that he was giving, all the expressions that I could see from Arjuna. Because Shastra, whatever the experience it talks about, the person who doesn't have any knowledge about Shastra, he is narrating in front of me that I become very, I don't know how to express. I don't know where to put all the knowledge of Shastra. The mind, the soul, because of Punya Pala. He said, from the childhood Swamiji, I got love with Venkateshwara. That's fine. The understanding, which comes from Shastra, how can this person can receive? That's what the glory of Venkateshwara. See, that he's the first decision when I made, the decision to start a business. So he was starting at how he established the business. And he is a big, what I can say, billionaire in India. Though he lives in US, but he is a big millionaire. And so, that he didn't say in between. I came to know when we reached top. And finally he told, so my vehicle is waiting, I have to leave. It was very nice talking to you. So I felt very blessed, so that we could discuss about a little bit Shastra and all. While talking, whatever that expressions he was expressing, and I was quoting from Shastra. Yes, it is said there, it is said there, it is said in this chapter, and it is said in that chapter. He talked about Jiva, he talked about all. See, though he was not able to give the technical terms from Vedanta, but the complete understanding what to be there, he has that understanding. He was talking about his children, and he was talking about his workers. He was doing well, and he is the person, he does a lot to the humanity. That is the glory. Ananta Viryam Amita Vikramam. The Venkateshwara, being in the form of Venkateshwara, being in the form of understanding, being in the form of power, he is all pervade. Especially these words, it's a different words. Now he is able to, Arjuna is, now he is back. He is able to think a little bit, this Krishna was born as my friend, but he is, Sarveshwara. Now he is shy enough to think about the conversations which he had, the interactions and the incident and whatever took place in his life. Now he feels shy about it. He expressed. So I used to call you as as I thought you are equal to me. I was not giving proper respect. I just vocate you as a friend, who's a Keti, oh my friend. So like when you are equal friend, you use not respectful language. You call him in a single form, isn't it? So like that, I used to call Hey Sakha, then Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakhayati. So because I was completely ignorant, because of my ignorance, so I used to call you in single form. So therefore, now I feel very bad. All those things because of my idiocy. Now the Arjuna who is connecting with this Almighty, with the form of Krishna who was in the form of friend of Arjuna. That's what is happening now. Maya pramadat pranayena vapi. Pramadat, because of ignorance, I made all those things. Don't mistake me. That's what, the expression comes. We'll continue this from next session tomorrow. Because of the blessings of Lord Venkateshwara, may we all get all kinds of prosperity, prosperous understanding, the wealth and the health. Paripurna Rupena. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vachishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.